and it was Lag BaOmer morning, and I was downstairs with my kids in the kitchen. I turned on the radio, and I hear that the announcer sounds very, very concerned. He announced that a mother with her 3 young children had gotten lost on her way to Meron. Meron was the site of this huge celebration where hundreds of thousands of Jews celebrate every Lag BaOmer. There had been a huge traffic jam, so the bus drivers weren't taking passengers all the way to Meron. They were leaving them off several miles before they got to Meron. So one mother with her 3 teensy children had gotten off the bus, and somehow, while everyone else walked down the main road to get to Meron, this mother, for some reason, she got totally lost, and she made an emergency call to the police saying that she had no food, she had no water, she was alone with her 3 children, and she had no idea how to get where she needed to go, to Meron. So the radio announcer said that the police were running around trying to find this woman who apparently had already walked several miles in the direction of Afula, which is very, very far south from Meron, in a very, very different kind of place. So probably not where you'd want to be spending Lag BaOmer. So basically half an hour passed, and I didn't hear anything more from the announcer about the mother who gotten lost in Meron. I was getting a bit concerned, as I'm sure a lot of people were. After about half an hour, the announcer comes back on and says, "Thank God, we found the woman, we found the mother, and she and her children are all well, and we have her on the line with us. We're gonna be doing now a live interview with the mother." So my kids were there. They're making a bit of noise. I said, "Shh! I really want to hear what happened. What happened to this mother? How did she get so lost?" So the mother gets on the line. And the interview says, "Shalom, Gaveret, we're so happy to have found you. But if you could please tell us, we're all interested to know what happened. We heard that you took the wrong path, that you got lost." And she interrupted him, and she was very adamant. She says, "No." She says, "I want to explain something." She says, "It wasn't that I took the wrong path. It was that I was taking a shortcut. I saw a shortcut to Meron. It was a shortcut off to the side of the road, and it was a great shortcut. And before I knew it, I was totally lost. I had no idea where I was. We were going up, we were going down, and we had lost the path, and we had no idea where we were. We were lost in the forest. We were lost in the forests." The moment that I heard this, I knew that this was the perfect metaphor. It's a perfect metaphor for my life and for the lives of so many mothers and so many human beings, in fact. That so often in life, we're headed, we have a goal, we want to get to Meron, but we take a shortcut, and before we know it, we are totally lost, and we are so off course from where we were headed. I think that when I think to myself, what is the shortcut? What is the shortcut that I take in my life and that so many people take, is that we get into a rut of mindless motherhood. Mindless motherhood. That's the shortcut. The shortcut is you wake up in the morning, you give the kids breakfast, you get them off to school, you do whatever you do in the morning, then you give them lunch, you go to the playground, you put them to bed, whatever, then you wake up and do it and go through the whole thing again without a sense of what are you headed for? What are you aiming for? What is your goal? What is your Meron? Where are we headed for as Jewish parents? And I know for me, what I want to talk about this morning especially is that an especially powerful tool for me, and I think could be for so many mothers, is the use of prayer. That daily prayer, even very, very short for our children, can keep us on path, can keep us from becoming like this woman who's lost, wandering around with her small children in the forest, on the way to Afula. We want to know where we're going, and prayer every day can help us get where we want to get to with our children and as a family. So first of all, two words about prayer and the role that prayer can play in our lives. Prayer works because it works, because we can pray and God hears our prayers, and I believe it 100% that prayer works. God hears our prayers can be answered, and it's something that we should do if not every day, then very, very frequently, we should pray for our families, we should pray for our spouses, we should pray for our children, we should pray for the world, pray for the people of Israel, pray for the Jewish people. Something we really, really should be doing. But another added benefit of prayer is that it keeps us on the right path. It keeps us headed for Meron. It keeps us. It keeps our goal in mind. For example, so every day when I pray for my children, I pray for each of my children. Let's say I pray for each one, I say one prayer for them, let's say for 5 seconds a day. Every day I say, God, this daughter's having a difficult time making friends. Please, God, help this girl make friends. Another daughter, let's say, is having difficulty with patience. So say, please, God, help this daughter to develop her patience. Those are more short-term goals that I have for them. The improvements that I want to see in them over the next month, over the next year. But at the end, after I say these short prayers for my children, I say every single day I pray for them that I should be able to raise my children to Torah, to Chuppah, and to Masim Tovim. That means I want to raise all of my children to grow up to have a tremendous love of the Torah, love of Judaism. Chuppah is the wedding canopy that I should merit to see all of my children get married to people who will be good spouses for them, people whom they love. And Masim Tovim, that I should raise all of my children, that they should live a life where they're doing lots of good deeds. For example, so every day with my long-term goals, it's a bit sort of when you're looking at a 5-year-old, it's a bit difficult to imagine them, getting married. So something an exercise that I do with myself is that I visualize every single day all of my children doing one of either Torah, Chuppah, or Masim Tovim. Today, for example, I imagined all of my children doing Masim Tovim, doing good deeds. So I imagined my 1-year-old, Yoel, who at the moment is working on, crawling up on chairs and pulling things out from the table. I envision him in 25 years, a grown young man, helping an old lady across the street, being the kind of person who will love to do good deeds. The reason I really, really want to talk about this morning, about the role of prayer in our lives, to keep us on track, is because this coming Monday night and Tuesday until sunset, is Erev Rosh Chodesh Sivan. It's the eve of the month of Sivan. There's an ancient tradition that people pray for their children, that we pray for our children on Erev Rosh Chodesh Sivan, this coming Monday night until Tuesday evening. So there's a specific prayer that people recite for their children on this day. It's the prayer of the Shlach HaKadosh. It was written about 300 years ago, and people can find it on my website, jewishmom.com. And every year, then in Jerusalem, usually I forget about this prayer, and there's always some nice woman on some street in some Jerusalem neighborhood who hands me the prayer and says, "Don't forget to say this prayer. This is a tremendous opportunity. Erev Rosh Chodesh Sivan is a tremendous et ratzon. It's a tremendous time that we know that God is especially open to our prayers as parents to pray for our children." So I decided that this year, I want to be that woman. I want to be the woman who gets her act together and finds the prayer and tells everybody, all the Jewish Eemas, that this is something very important, that this is a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to get ourselves on track. What do we want for our children? What are our dreams for our children? What are our goals? So I just want to bless everybody and bless me that next year, Lag BaOmer, I'm not going to see anybody out there. I'm not going to see even one of you in the central bus station in Afula. Next year, all of us are dancing in Meron with our children. Chodesh Tov.